Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Cutting Through the Bullshit. I am your host, Dr. Stephanie Snyder, and I am a high performance mentor. Through my unique blend of strategy, mindset, and intuition, I help entrepreneurs to cut through the BS in order to create the life and business they desire. So it's been a week. It's been a little chaotic this past week, and I just want to share with you some of the real in the nitty-gritty kind of entrepreneur stuff that I know we all deal with. On some level, it also crosses over into life and teaches you to just surrender. So if you're anything like me, you probably can be prone to control freak activity, where you just want to know all of the things that are going to happen in the step that they're going to happen so that you can feel prepared for the thing, right? Well, my husband and I are purchasing a business, and the plan was to close on this business on February 28th. We are now March 25th at the time of recording this and have still not closed on this business. And it's frustrating. I'm just going to be honest with you because I feel like that's required here. However, I know the days leading up to February 28th when I was so excited to close and really just dive into the business and make it our own and all the things. God tapped me on the shoulder and was like, hey, by the way, this is going to take longer than you think it's going to. And I was like, yeah, it'll be fine. And he was like, no, you're gonna have to surrender the control here. It's gonna happen, just probably not as quickly as you want it to. And now that we're over 3 weeks post the initial close date, I've totally surrendered. There's not a whole lot left that I can do where I can kind of control anything. There are moving parts to this that, quite frankly, I want to shake and be like, just do your part. Why is it not ready? But at the same time, I know that it's being delayed for some reason. I don't necessarily know the reason. I don't really have to know the reason. But just being able to relax and surrender into it has been a breath of fresh air. Now, full disclosure, I didn't want to relax and surrender into it. I wanted it to be done my way. And God and I have a pretty good relationship here where I will openly say, hey, what the heck's going on? Sometimes I use other words, right? But I remember when my husband and I were dating, he had asked me to move to even prior to that. Before I had just graduated from undergrad, and I had been accepted to a school here in Virginia Beach for grad school, and I didn't want to leave Massachusetts. I was perfectly content there. I didn't want to leave there. I could do all my schooling remotely. There was no reason for me to leave, yada, yada, yada. And so I legitimately gave God a checklist. And I was like, okay, if you want me to move to Virginia Beach, I need this done, and this done. And within less than a week, he was like, check. Now what are your excuses? Get your butt to Virginia Beach. And I was like, okay, all right, I guess we're going to Virginia Beach, right? We're still here. We've done some traveling in the meantime, but it was just interesting. It's interesting to have those real honest conversations. And not everybody's willing to have them with the man upstairs. Some people, whether you're religious or spiritual or whatever you want to call it, I know that when I have those honest conversations with God, as if he's standing in the room with me, I'm able to move through some really powerful things. And he'll occasionally tap me on the shoulder and just kind of give me a warning, right? So last Thursday was a very emotional day for me. It was a roller coaster of a week, and I was all over the place. And it was like I was excited about something, and then I was heartbroken about it, and then I was uplifted about something, and then also heartbroken about the thing again, right? And it was just very emotional. And when I was on my bike ride Thursday morning, it was probably I I left on the bike right at the time the kids left. So it was about 8:30 in the morning. And I'm on the bike ride, and I love riding my bike because there's something about it that just shifts the energy, and like the intuitive hits and the downloads that I receive when I'm outside exercising are next level. And so I'm biking, and God reminds me, again, a little tap on the shoulder, says, "Hey, by the way, all of the things that you talk about, being able to be resilient and, just handle things really, really well, you're going to need that today." And I was like, yeah, 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 sure. No, today's going to be a great day. Yeah, 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 sure, right? And then a few hours later, I was an emotional mess. And I called my husband, and I just cried on the phone. I was like, I don't want you to fix this. Just let me cry. And he was like, okay, perfect. I was like, and I need you to be positive in this side of things. Like, I want to be the pessimist right now, and I need you to be like, you know what, honey, it's all going to work out. Right? I don't need you to sympathize with me and be like, what the hell is happening? None of that stuff. I need you to be the positive side of things. And what's beautiful about this is that the relationship I have with my husband that we have worked on allows me to do that with him, where I'm like, listen, this isn't something that I want you to fix. This isn't something where I need you to be like, oh, woe is me, like, woe is you kind of thing. Like, here's what I need, do it. Right? And now there are some times where I'm like, you're only saying that because I told you to say it, right? I can be super whatever about that. But nevertheless, in the moment, he did exactly what I needed him to do, and it was perfect, right? He grounded the chaos that was happening on my side of things. Now, fast forward, right? So I did get my shit together, right? Like, it was a stumbling block. It was a learning curve. It was a, hey, here's like life coming at you. How are you going to handle it? And I have to say, I handled it really well. And even on Sunday morning, where I felt like there was still a little bit of an ick happening, I reached out to my brother for some encouragement. And I said, hey, brother, I just need some encouragement. To which he immediately responded, yeah, you can do it. And I was like, not that kind. I'm going to need some specific encouragement. Like, let's talk through this. And I think that's so important to have, not only in life, but in your personal experiences and in your entrepreneur experiences, right? Like, having somebody who is walking that same kind of path with you is super helpful when it comes to moving through things that maybe you don't feel prepared for, or that kind of blindside you. And I know I have people that I can reach out to and be like, hey, this is what's happening. Can you help me through it? And that's what people are there for, right? This is why we build relationships, is to really aid one another in our journey through life, whether that's being an entrepreneur or being a mom, or raising children and being married, or any kind of relationship. When we're able to tap into each other, we grow stronger as a community, right? Whatever your community looks like. Now, full disclosure, I don't really know where the rest of this podcast is going, but we're just going to keep going with it. And when I feel like it's done, I'm just going to tell you. But I'm sharing all of this because I don't ever want you to feel like you're doing this journey on your own. And sometimes it feels like that. Sometimes it can feel like life is happening to you, and that you're moving through all of these things on your own, and no one will truly ever understand what it is that you're going through. And that's a big fat lie, because there are so many commonalities between all of us that there is always somebody who's going to know what you're going through, and maybe they're not there right now, maybe they're ahead of you, maybe they're behind you, but nevertheless, there's somebody who's been where you've been in a very similar situation, probably not the exact, right? But a very similar situation, and can help you through that. Whether it's a coach, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a friend, whether it's a family member, it doesn't matter. Like, there are people around that can help you get to where you want to go if you're willing to speak up and let people know what's actually happening, right? Not to mention that there are so many resources available to us online, through AI, through whatever, right? You can legitimately Google something and somebody else will have some input to it. Now, this is where you have to practice this discernment, because not everything will work for everybody. So for me, as I talked about earlier in this podcast, surrendering, right, is not my favorite thing to do. It just isn't. I would like to have all of my ducks in a row and know where things are. That surrendering can feel difficult to me. However, surrendering is not the same as surrender, right? It's not the same as quitting and giving up. Surrender to me is, okay, I don't know exactly what the next step is, but I know I can do this, and I know that that's where I'm going. And it's this walk with spirit, with God, with your vision, with whatever it is, right? It's this walk where I take one step knowing what I can do, which leads me to another step that I didn't necessarily see in the first place, which ultimately step by step takes me to that vision, but it's always just one step at a time, right? Sometimes it's a longer step. Sometimes it's a little bitty baby step. Sometimes you take a step back, right? Like, but that's just life. It is just, and it's beautiful. And that was something that was really hammered in yesterday morning and this morning. When I went for my run yesterday, I stopped to take a picture of was it an egret? I don't know. My kid's got this bird thing, and I don't remember what kind of bird it was. I think it was an egret who was standing in the water. You can check it out on my Instagram stories, but it was standing in the water, and it was so amazing, because the moment before I had asked, send me something beautiful. And the very next step, I saw the bird standing in the water, and the way that the light was hitting it was just incredible. And then this morning when I got up to swim, there was something about the moon that was just so amazing, and no picture would ever do it justice. But the sky was so dark, and you could see the little kind of sliver of the moon. You'd see the outline of it, but the sky was so dark, and it was so incredible to just see that contrast of the bright moon, just a little sliver of it, this morning. And so even in the midst of the chaos and the ability to very quickly just spiral down and down and down and think that the world is against you, there is always something beautiful, and there is always something grateful, always something to be grateful for, rather. And it's just about allowing it to come through, and allowing it to come through in any way, because sometimes that's the greatest blessing, the unexpected little boost, right? Whether it's money that comes to you unexpected, or, you know, somebody shows you love in an unexpected way, or whatever it is, right? Like, it just, allow it to sneak in, because there are so many distractions there, but giving yourself permission to just be in that present moment is beautiful. And it's all around you. So thanks for joining me on this little rabbit trail of things. And yeah, I'm excited. Learning to surrender is a good lesson, and one that is repeatedly taught to me on different levels, but it's going to be good. It's going to be good. So I'm sending you so much love. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And as always, Be you, because the world needs more of you. Bye.